got the new USSPEEDO in. So first step in this process is got to remove the dash itself. I found it since I've been doing this a few times, it's easier to start down here on the left side, pry that, and then pry it all the way around, and then pop it off. Alright, now that the dash is popped off, now we move in. There's bolts top and bottom on each side right here. They got to come out. But first I'm gonna unhook the battery because I will be having to unplug it after that. Okay, I got the 4 screws out. One thing to note, these little crevices where the screws are, they're deep down in there. So after I pulled them out with the screwdriver, I used this, which has a magnet on the end, to actually pull the screws out so I didn't drop them down into the dash. So just extra cautious on my part for that. All right, something else to note, this piece right here was up top. I removed it to make it easier to actually pull this whole piece out. So keep that in mind, you might have to do that too. And the next step is you have to unhook the wiring harness from the back of the gauge cluster. All right, I moved inside for this part. It was fairly simple to take the front off of the actual gauge cluster. Each one of these tabs, you just have to pull them up, and when I did it kind of right side up like this and kind of let gravity help pull it down. So now, next step, I'm gonna mark where my gauges, where my needles are actually pointing to, and then I will remove the needles and then start to swap out the actual faces. All right, so next thing I've done, no rhyme or reason, no right or wrong answer, but what I did was I used some masking tape and just put a dot outside the cluster where the needle's actually pointing to, so that I can line that up once I'm back onto that spot. So opening up the packaging, USSPEEDO actually does a good job. They actually send you a set of full-on directions of what to do as you go through the whole process. So I'm about somewhere in here, so we're gonna go ahead and pick it up from their directions and follow that the rest of the way through. All right, new gauges in. They are lined up where they're supposed to be. So now I'm gonna seal it back up and take it back out and put it back in the car. All right, so the gauge cluster is screwed back into the mount and plugged in. So now I'm gonna hook the battery up and start the car to make sure the gauges are moving like they're supposed to before I go ahead and button everything all the way up. Okay, everything is buttoned up. I got the battery hooked back up, and now I'm gonna give it a start and we're gonna see what happens. Supposed to be, so I'm going to button everything up and then I'm going to take it for a test drive to make sure the Speedo is working as well. Alright, dash is back in, everything's back in place. Now that white looks really popping off of that the dash now. Real cool. Looks like everything's working. Took about 30 minutes to do, start to finish.